And welcome to Marcus and Mike Show, guys. I am Mike. My man over here to the left is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing today, bub?
I'm doing pretty good. What's going on? Both my teams won.
Hey,
I'm doing very well.
you're doing very, very well. And there are no other quarterback injuries, so we're moving in the right direction now. What week three
Right.
of the NFL season is just about over here. We do have one Monday night
Yeah.
game, but we missed all of last week. We just needed some time to recharge the batteries a little bit. So
Yeah.
we didn't get the chance to really pick our games like I really wanted to. So we're just going to go ahead
Right.
and break down the week three games so far. Thursday night game, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Texans. We pretty much said this was a must-win for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they came out and they won 20-7. What are your thoughts on that game right out the bat?
Yeah, it was against the Titans, and that was a must-win. It was two desperate teams. I hate to use that word desperate so early in the season, but Tennessee was 1-1, and Jacksonville was 0-2. So the more desperate team won.
Right.
That was Jacksonville. Looks like they're back, and they look good, and that's saying a lot. And it looks like they found their good backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. He could be a first-string quarterback. He makes
Right.
the correct throws. He didn't blow me out of the box. Everybody was like, "Oh my God!" Friday morning, and I was like, "Calm down." He threw for 204 yards, and one of the touchdowns he got was a little 10-yard pass after they got the turnover. So it was like a gift.
Right.
So, but no, he's a good player. He steadied the ship. He will steady the ship until Nick Foles returns. And Jacksonville looks like they could be a problem for some teams. So yeah,
Yeah,
I was impressed.
they could be some problems until they trade Ramsey. Like it looks like it is being more and more
Yeah.
adamant now. Hopefully, my Kansas City Chiefs jump on that because our defense looked
Ooh.
horrendous on
Yeah.
Sunday. But I am kind of surprised that you used the word desperate for the Tennessee Titans because they come out week one and they blew the Browns out of the water. What was it
Yeah.
like 45-7 or so?
Right.
It was a crazy score. So for you to use the term desperate for the Titans, I'm kind of surprised by that.
Well,
What are your thoughts
they
behind
lost.
that?
Well, they lost to the Colts, and so they lost a divisional opponent,
But the
and now they
Colts are
had to
looking
play
pretty
another
good though.
divisional. Huh?
The Colts are looking pretty good.
They did, but now Tennessee now has lost to two divisional games.
Okay.
So if they weren't desperate last week, they're desperate this week.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely understand that. One of the surprises that has kind of caught me off guard is the Buffalo Bills. They are now 3-0 after beating the Bengals 21-17. Bengals dropped to 0-3 on the season, which is not a surprise there. But give me your thoughts on that game. Is the Buffalo Bills the real deal, or are they just a
Yeah,
weak schedule?
in my predictions, I had Buffalo going 9-7 and battling New England for that division for the AFC East. Now it looks like New England's much better than I thought. I picked New England's demise this year for them to go 9-7. I know I'm probably going to be dead wrong on that, but hey, we've got a good football game on Sunday at noon um, at Orchard Park in Buffalo. New England's traveling to Buffalo, and we're going to find out a lot about both teams, man.
Right.
Buffalo's got a very good defense, and we'll see if they can hang in with Tom Brady and them boys. That's going to be an excellent game. I believe in Buffalo. I think Buffalo, even if they lose, I think Buffalo's going to be challenging for the wild card this year. Absolutely, with the defense and Allen getting a little bit better, the quarterback Allen getting a little bit better. This is a team to be reckoned with as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on this. But watching the Buffalo Bills, I'm surprised by the play of Frank Gore. Like he has to be what 60 or 70 years old, and he is still hammering
Yeah,
out 80-yard games with like one or two scores almost like every game. He is a great security blanket for that young quarterback up there in Buffalo, and from the looks of it, my picks are going to be dead wrong because I think I had them going like 6-10, maybe 5 and
right.
like 11. But their defense is looking pretty solid, and their offense is starting to come along as well. Now the Bengals on the flip side, uh, they're horrible without AJ Green, and it's
Yeah,
showing. So
yeah. Well, they are what we thought they were. We said they'd go about 3-13 or 4-12, and they've been competitive now.
right.
So that's the good news for Cincinnati. They haven't gotten their butts kicked like Miami, so they've been competitive. But I still see a 4-12 season.
Yeah, speaking of getting your butt kicked, the Cowboys did beat the Miami Dolphins 31-6 yesterday, giving them 3-0 on the season. But as I saw a lot of the time, Cowboy fans, we seem to get a little bit hyped, and we also have played the worst three teams in the NFL: the Washington Redskins, the Miami Dolphins, and the
Yeah.
Giants. So, are the Cowboys still the real deal, or are we just the benefit of a weak schedule right off the bat?
Both. I think both. Both is your answer. The Cowboys are a benefit of a weak schedule, and I think they're somewhat a real deal because what they did with those three teams, they smashed them. If they had beaten like Washington 10-7 and the Giants 10-9 and then beat Miami 17-13, then I'd be like that 3-0 is a little fool's gold. But they've looked like that. They've looked a little bit like Alabama versus a non-conference schedule. So
Right.
um, now it was a little hairy there for a little while. Dallas looked like they weren't prepared, weren't ready, but yeah, once they got it going, they proved their dominance. And yeah, Dallas is Dallas is the real deal. They'll make the playoffs, they'll win the division, and we'll see. Next weekend's a huge game, Sunday Night Football at New Orleans. It's a
Right.
big one.
Yeah, and just to add to your point there, these are still professional teams that they are playing. These are the top
Yeah,
500 plus players in the world. So
right.
so mean like just to say that these these are cakewalk games. You still have to prepare. You still have to show up
Yes,
because football is a perfect any given Sunday. Any team can win at any
yes,
given time. One ball bounces the other way, or like or not. The Cowboys could have lost to the Washington. Washington Redskins played really well in the first half. I mean, second half
right.
they kind of stumbled like on themselves, but one big play here or there, we're looking at a totally different thought process here. Um,
Right.
so Cowboy haters, like I should say, pump the brakes because they're still a professional team. Miami Dolphins did pick up Taco, and that he seemed to play pretty well. So I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, yeah. He was motivated.
Yeah. So the next game on the docket that happened on Sunday, the Denver Broncos taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Broncos have won at every stadium except for Lambeau Field, and that still is the case. Lambeau beat the Broncos 27-16, giving the Broncos 0-3. Yes, and Packers 3-0. What are your thoughts on this one?
I kept waiting for Bradley Chubb and Von Miller to destroy Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers' protection held up. He made some throws. Denver is still playing hard. They're still in games. Um, Man, that was a kind of a methodical beatdown. It looked close for a little while, then
Hmm.
uh, Green Bay pulled away. Green Bay is playing better, and I think everybody's saying this too. Green Bay is a little bit better than everybody projected. They've got corners and safeties that are playing very well, and
Yes.
yeah, I mean they've drafted pretty good. So yeah, Green Bay just when everybody thought maybe hey the Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers stuff and what they happened to them been happening to them the last couple of years. This might be their demise and all that. Oops, Green Bay looks like they're back to competing for maybe getting the playoffs again, which they are. Maybe even compete for a Super Bowl because when you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, anything can happen, man.
Yeah. After watching the Packers yesterday while flipping back between the Chiefs game and the Packers game, Packers look like a might be the NFC favorite if they keep trending in this direction. But on the flip side, look at the Denver Broncos. One team that is undefeated is Father Time, and it makes me kind of wonder: is Von Miller and versus Father Time getting to get caught up a little bit because he just doesn't seem as explosive as he was just even week one. So
Right.
I don't know if he has a nagging injury or
Yeah.
if he's just getting old or just tired. But the only bright side of the Denver Broncos right now is that running back Philip Lindsay. I believe he
Yeah.
had 21 or 22 touches for 100 yards and like two
Right.
scores. He is a fantasy guy's dream because Joe Flacco is not looking very good either. So if you guys are playing fantasy football like Marcus and myself, Philip Lindsay is if he's available and because like I think I saw on the thing he's available in 67% of leagues. Definitely pick this
Right.
guy up. That's the only bright side
Yeah.
of the Denver Broncos right now. Uh, they're not going to be 5-12, like I'm going to say. Next up, kind of a surprise to me. Indianapolis Colts pull out the win versus the Atlanta Falcons, 27-24, giving the Colts a 2-1 record on the season. Much surprise 2-1 season, like I said, with the surprise retirement of Andrew Luck. What are your thoughts on this game?
Man, Jacoby Brissett was if you would have thought you'd have thought that was Andrew Luck out there. If Jacoby Brissett would have stayed on the sidelines and Andrew Luck came in the game, it would have looked just like that. Jacoby Brissett was almost flawless the entire
Hmm.
game. He's the reason they won. The man is they gave him an extension. I think maybe like $15 million a year. He's worth every penny of that. He proved that to me. He proved that to me this past Sunday. Um, Jacoby Brissett is a very good quarterback. I don't know if he'll make too many Pro Bowls or whatever, but they've got a good signal caller there in Jacoby Brissett. He won the game for them. Matt Ryan made one mistake yesterday, made about two or three mistakes yesterday, and that cost his team. And that reminds me of back in the day, Romo. Romo has to play flawless for the team to win. He makes a couple of mistakes. It's
Yep.
curtains, right? So Matt Ryan threw an interception, bad interception. It was an interception that they were going in for the scores like in the first half. He doesn't do that. Atlanta probably wins this game.
Right.
Matt Ryan was flawless except for a couple of things. That was a good quarterback competition there yesterday between Matt Ryan and Jacoby Brissett. And man, lo and behold, Jacoby Brissett won the game. I got to give it to him. He's the MVP of that game.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. And I believe they did give him a 2-year, $23 million extension for the next couple years. So they
Yeah,
might have their quarterback of the future right now if
Mike.
he continues to progress the way he
Yep,
is,
yep,
not consistently saying, "Oh, you are a placeholder." Tell Andrew Luck he comes back. This is his team, and he is performing like it. And the Colts. Great job on the draft to put the talent around him. They have a pretty solid defense. They have a like a tailback you can give the ball 20 plus times a game in with I believe it's Mac like is his name, and they still have T.Y. Hilton, the Ageless wonder
yeah,
T.Y. Hilton. He is still in there killing people. Now this is
right.
just
And
good.
T.Y. Hilton, yeah, T.Y. Hilton hurt his quad the other day, and he left to the locker room and didn't come back. So we're waiting to see the injury report on T.Y. Hilton.
I'm sure he's fine. It is probably just a bruise because like I don't think I've ever seen him really sit out a game for some type of bruise
Well,
or he's definitely an Iron Man. So
probably yeah.
going back to the Falcons, this just shows you that you cannot pay a quarterback $100 million and expect to be a competitive team year in and year
Right,
out. He makes one
right,
mistake and they lose. Like, how can you have somebody that has to play a flawless game
right,
to win a game? It just like, you just cannot do that. And it starts by paying him $100 million and not having a supporting cast like around him. And it's going to be tough for him for a very, very long time. Sorry to say. So possibly the game of the week, as most people say, the Ravens taking on the Chiefs. Chiefs outlasted the Ravens 33-28. Ravens failed on 3 or 4 2-point conversions that could have, possibly swung the game one way or the other. But what are your thoughts on this
yeah.
game?
What the hell, man? Listen, what the hell is Jim Harbaugh doing? Like, the math doesn't say go for two, idiot. Like,
No.
it's dumb. They kept on going for two. Just keep kicking extra points and stay in the game. I mean, just dumb. You need to fire your math major there on the sidelines, whoever that is.
Well, let
You
me
can hire
let,
me.
let me stop you right off the bat there. The very first time they scored, it was 6-0 and they kicked the PAT and they made it, but the Chiefs were offsides or something like that. So the Ravens elected to take the ball at the 1 and go for 2 and the Chiefs stuffed it. Right then and there, you
Yeah,
should know like, hey, they got our 2-point conversion play down. Why are we going to try it five or six more times?
yeah, just terrible coaching by Harbaugh. I tell you what, man, Lamar Jackson is he's growing on me. He's doing better, a lot better than what I thought. I watched in the preseason, the guy couldn't make remedial throws. I
Yes.
mean, it was very weird, and so he's kind of lightening up a little bit. But we'll see what happens. It's a long season, and man, Mahomes. I mean, just without Tyreek Hill, they just find this new kid, Demarcus Robinson, and they drafted McCole Hardman. They got Sammy Watkins. It makes you sick.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're not a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you're like, golly,
Right.
like just a. I mean, every time I looked up, there was a little 5'9" guy that runs 4'3" running free somewhere.
Right.
I mean,
And
so yeah,
they
it does make you, yeah,
and they had their third string tailback in that got I believe it was 80 some yards too. So their
yeah,
starting tailback can be out and their third string coach to want to get 80 yards. Like they
Yeah,
are,
I mean,
they're definitely an offense of juggernaut there. But the biggest flaw from the Kansas City Chiefs is that freaking defense. So the Kansas City Chiefs, I can count I think 5 or 6 times the Baltimore Ravens had 20 plus yards to go and they gave up a first down. They gave up
yeah,
some errant pass, like so. Basically,
yeah,
Lamar Jackson basically just throws up a hail mary
yeah,
pass, and they don't even jump
yeah,
or try to defend it. Lamar Jackson throws from sideline to sideline for a 50 yard pass, which I think was only
yeah,
like 18 yards, but still. But like Lamar Jackson did play well. Yes, I'm going to give him that. He has the athletic ability to scramble in the pocket. We saw that he juked. Uh, I believe it was Chris Jones right out of his ankles. Like he broke those ankles once or
okay,
twice. But those errant throws are they're going to catch up to him when he plays a mediocre or better than average defense. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs defense is trash. They are horrible. They need Ramsey. They need to do something, but they need to find some firepower.
yeah,
But I'm not sold on Lamar Jackson yet. Yes, he went for 250 yards or 270 some yards, but look at his completion rate. It was right around 50%. I think he was 26 for 43 or 44.
yeah.
The one thing I did not like from the Ravens is Mark Ingram was running awesome through the tackles. Why did you not keep feeding that beast and keep the Kansas City Chiefs offense off
Yeah.
the field? I mean that you have Mark Ingram.
Great question.
He
Great question.
feed that guy. Do not pass it 50 plus
Yeah,
times
I
like in a
got you.
game. Next up, you have the Minnesota Vikings beating the Oakland Raiders 34-14. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh man, I almost have no thoughts. I mean, it was just a beat down. Look, it was like a good team versus a bad team right off the bat. I mean, Minnesota just took control. It looked like Oakland mailed it in from the first, second quarter. Like if they didn't even work on the playbook, their schemes didn't work. Nothing worked. Just looked really bad. Um, man, Oakland. I don't know what they may as well not got on the plane.
Right.
That's how bad that game was. It was just absolutely terrible. Yeah, David Carr's throwing interceptions, and Minnesota did what they're supposed to do. They beat a bad team, and Minnesota I think is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be 8-8, maybe 9-7, depending on like how they do against the Bears. But my
Well,
question for you is, when does Oakland pull the trigger on Carr? When is he out?
man, I don't think he's going to be out. I mean, you can put in Mike Glennon. I mean, I mean, he's not like some quarterback of the future. You're going to put in Peterman. Oh my God, the guy you're coaching, your quarterback's better than Peterman. I mean, or he could just compete just as well as Peterman.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely not. They're probably not going to yank him. They're going to go with him because there's no other alternatives. There's no Daniel Jones in waiting.
Do you possibly make a trade for Eli just to get you through the season? Because last year there were rumors of Harbaugh and Carr kind of butting heads, and like Carr was like on his way out, and starting
Yeah.
off 0-3. That's not going to help anything in that
Well,
locker room whatsoever. Like, do you try to find a veteran and maybe kind of right the ship, or do you just tank
yeah.
like the Miami is?
No, I mean Eli Manning's not going to come in and fix anything. That dude's been horrible for the last 7 years. Has been average before that. He's not better than David Carr. So no, Manning's not going to work on that. I mean, he's not going to fix that situation at all.
Okay, great take there. So Patriots and Jets. Patriots beat the Jets 30-14, going 3-0 on the season. Jets dropping to 0-3. What are your thoughts on that one?
Man, was that? I mean, that's pretty much the game like we just covered. What was it? The 14 points? Like it was like that game was over in the first quarter, just like the Minnesota Oakland game was over in the first quarter. Tom Brady. I mean, he's what they how did even the Jets score? I didn't even see them do a damn thing.
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
Like I don't even think they crossed midfield. I think they scored on an no. Um, the quarterback of they took Brady out. Stidham from Auburn went in there and threw a pick six, so they scored one there. And I think they muffed the punt because Edelman was out. So two backup players for New England gave the Jets 14 points. Otherwise, that thing's 30-3. I mean, 30-0, and that game was terrible. It was
Yeah.
it was just like that game was over after the first quarter. And what bothers me about stuff like that, no NFL team should be done in the first quarter. That's just the Jets ought to go soak their head somewhere. I mean, that's it. If it, yeah, they should be running laps right now on payday. Run
The
laps.
the Jets didn't even show up to the game. The starting quarterback went 12 for 22 for 98 yards and one
Yeah.
interception. The guy that's making all this money, Le'Veon Bell, held at for a year, 35 yards
Yeah.
rushing, 35 yards on 18 like attempts. How do you expect to win a high school game playing like just like that? Like it was ugly. It was the game was over after Tom Brady's first touchdown pass.
Yeah, it was
Let's
over.
let's just be honest. One of the biggest surprises that I've had so far this year, Detroit Lions going 2-0-1 now on the season because they beat the Philadelphia Eagles at Philly 27-24. What are your thoughts on this one?
I owe Matt Patricia an apology. Remember after week one, I said
Gave
you're
up
up
a
24 to
27-point
6
lead.
on you gave up a huge lead to a 5'5" quarterback. You should be fired. Man, ever since then, they're on, they've turned that thing
They're
around.
undefeated.
I mean, they
They
really
they
have.
haven't
I'll
lost a
give Matt
game.
Patricia all the credit in the world to go in and to beat the Philadelphia Eagles like that. And boy, Philadelphia Eagles are 1-2. Everybody was like, "Oh, Super Bowl favorites," and they just have this unbelievable roster and all that. What roster are you looking at? You know what I mean? Like, and plus they're
And
getting hurt.
everybody's hurt.
Yeah. So I mean, man, Matt, give the Lions a lot of credit, man, and give Matt Stafford some credit, man. And Matt Patricia, I owe him an apology. That was a big time, gritty win yesterday, beating the Philadelphia Eagles, big time in Philadelphia too,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
And boy, it doesn't get easier next week. Kansas City's coming to the Dome.
Right. And I will be at that game. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh,
Driving to Detroit, my first time at Ford Stadium there.
wow.
But this game is starting to kind of scare me like a little bit
Mm,
because I think I had the Detroit Lions going 2-14 on this season. They are not going to go 2-14. The worst they
no,
can go is 2-13-1.
no.
So with that being said, I'm not for sure what happened from that because that first half in the
Yeah,
Arizona game, they played pretty well. They were up 27-0 and then they squandered it away. Like I don't know if they just like, oh, we're going to roll these guys, yada yada yada. But since
right.
then, they've been playing pretty damn good football. And if I am the Kansas City Chiefs coach right now, or like a player, I am not overlooking this game whatsoever
Yeah,
because earlier I think we both said like this is going to be a blowout, like 45-7 top
yeah.
score. It is going to be ugly. This
Hey,
might be a pretty damn good game. I'm talking like
absolutely.
35-32 type of score. Matt Stafford is
No, I mean,
looking like a pretty good quarterback.
yes, and this could be a shootout, and I expect Kansas City to still win the shootout.
Right.
But I don't. Yeah, we're talking now. It's going to be a 42-35 game instead of we thought earlier that it would Kansas City would just blow them out. Great play by Quandre Diggs, free safety for the Lions. Look for him. He's every bit as talented at his position as those little tiny Kansas City Chiefs receivers. He's not Earl Thomas, but don't be surprised when Quandre Diggs from the Lions, and you remember this name, Quandre Diggs, he comes over and is from his safety spot and intercepts Mahomes a couple of times. That wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, the hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs do have Tyreek Hill coming back next week, so maybe
Right.
that will kind of put the game out of reach. Speaking out of reach, Cam Newton's career is pretty much out of reach at this point, but they
Right.
did pull out a win versus the winless Arizona Cardinals, 38-20. What are your thoughts on this one?
Hey man, Kyle Allen played a good game, and Kyler Murray is still. I mean, it was okay. I mean, Kyler Murray, even though he hasn't won yet, he's done better than what I thought, to be honest. But hey, man, you see what happens when you actually have a quarterback that can throw downfield? It was like their first passing touchdown this year. We waited till week 3. That was pretty cool. Samuel, I think, got one, and a couple other players got one. And then Christian McCaffrey just kind of closed that thing out and put that baby to bed. Um, if Carolina has a quarterback that can throw down the field, they can win some games. So, and Cam Newton has already been ruled out for the game coming up versus the Texans. So, yeah, I mean, Kyle Allen's doing great. I think they probably want to keep that going.
Yeah, do not break. So if something's working, you don't want to change it.
Right, absolutely.
Kind of like what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did with Ryan, with like, or what they didn't do with Ryan Fitzpatrick last year is they
Right,
like he played 2 or 3 games and like, oh,
right.
Jameis is our guy, and then that ship wrecked. So the Carolina Panthers, they are a pretty good team. They have some talent. They have Christian McCaffrey, just like you said. They have who's a receiver, Figs on the like on the outside. They're a very talented team, and they got a defense that's pretty above average like as well. I would say they're probably 13th or 14th
Yeah.
like in the league. So do not wreck this anything by bringing Cam Newton back, especially a not healthy Cam Newton. Now, if Cam Newton is 100%, I think he will do better, obviously, than the backup quarterback is. But he has a shoulder, like he can't throw more than 12 yards down the field. He has like a broken
Right.
ankle, and his head is broken too. He is not right like upstairs right now. He is a basket
Right.
case, 100%.
No,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of first wins of the season, Daniel Jones got his first win of the season and the Giants' first win, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 32-31, and kind of a thriller, kind of a surprise game, and like in my eyes. What are your thoughts on this one?
Right. Daniel Jones was very impressive. I didn't think he'd be terrible, but I didn't think he'd be that good. He was very impressive. He made the correct reads. He's a good pre-snap quarterback. He just has to put that to the physical, and he did it yesterday. I give him some credit. That being said, if Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kick the guy missed a chip shot field goal, otherwise Daniel Jones would have lost his first start. But yeah, I got to give him credit. And I was about to say, when you got Saquon Barkley back there, it makes you look better. But now we hear Saquon is out 4 to 8 weeks, is what you told me a minute ago or something. But
Right.
yeah, that's big
Yep.
time.
That's
And
just
that's
breaking
going to hurt the
news.
Giants' chances of. That's going to hurt the Giants' chances moving forward, big time.
Yeah, the bright side about the Giants right now is Daniel Jones can expand the pocket. I did not know he was this athletic. Like the way he was rolling out and finding open receivers,
Uh-huh.
stretching the play out. I did not know he could do that.
Right.
I kind of figured he would be like a Peyton Manning type of guy, kind of just sit in the pocket and survey the field and really can extend the play. But
Right.
apparently he was a great AAU basketball player, so I mean he's definitely got the athletic ability.
Yeah.
Moving on here, the Texans get the win over the Chargers 27-20. One of your two teams wins. What are your thoughts on that one?
Big time win for the Houston Texans. I mean, man, did I tell you about Deshaun Watson? I mean, I don't even have to tell you. I think in Get Up this morning, they unanimously said, Greenberg and all those guys, that if you had an NFL draft to do and you could take any player, Mahomes would go 1 and they would take Deshaun 2. That guy is simply amazing. He finds people. He's the real deal. Reminds me of Roger Staubach. This guy's something else. He pulled the game out of his hat. The defense played pretty well. J.J. Watt got a couple of sacks. Man, the Houston Texans are going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're not as good as Mahomes and those guys, but they're like that second tier.
Right.
And so that's going to be a fun game coming up in a few weeks now. Houston at Kansas City. But
Now,
that was a Deshaun Watson game, and he won it.
right. And just to clarify, I still think they are a tier one team, but they're like an eight or a 9 seed team. They are nowhere close to a tier two team. The Houston Texans are pretty damn good. If the ball falls right for them or the matchups fall right, you could easily see them in the AFC Championship game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're better
Yeah.
than the Patriots, and the Patriots look pretty dominant right now.
Right.
With you saying that, Deshaun Watson did go 25 for 34, 351 yards and 3 touchdowns. That by itself is impressive. What's that? Only that's only 9 incompletions. So that is a very efficiency type of game that he had there. Watching this
You
game,
want
go ahead.
Yeah. No, you want to? No, go ahead. You go ahead, and I'll follow it up on the Deshaun stat.
Yeah, so watching this game, I watched it till like halftime, and then I flipped it over to the other game. I was kind of pushing the panic button like a little bit. What they were down 17-7,
Right.
I think, going into
Right.
halftime, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, like are the Chargers going to blow this game open? But Houston
Right.
came out in the third third quarter, and they basically put the clamps on them. The second half for the Houston Texans was something of pure beauty. It was a fantastic
Right.
game to watch in the second half. If you're a Houston Texans fan,
Right. It's fun. Deshaun Watson has never lost a game in the NFL by more than one score. So of his 9 losses, like he's in every game and he wins the game at the end. Like it's like watching Romo and Brett Favre. I mean, it's just in the game, you know. So I mean, that's an amazing stat. So Deshaun Watson has never lost double digits. He's never lost by more than now he hasn't even lost by 9 points yet. So in other words, he's only lost by a one-score game. So yeah, he's in every single game. This guy has not gotten blown out yet, and everybody's gotten blown out. Well,
yeah.
he's only in year 3, but that's an amazing stat. In other words, we are in the game every time Deshaun Watson is playing quarterback. Number 4 is there. Texans are in every game.
So what you are saying, if the Texans are ever supposed to lose by 9 points, take the points and the
Yes.
Texans win
Right.
because they will not lose by more than 8 points.
Right.
Speaking of losing by more than less than 8 points here, this game was a surprise to me. These are two teams that are basically polar opposites of what I thought they
Yeah.
would be to start this year. Pittsburgh Steelers and San Francisco 49ers. 49ers beat the Steelers 24-20, making the 49ers 3-0 on the season and the Steelers 0-3. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, it's the San Francisco is right where I thought they'd be. I thought San Francisco would be 10-6, and they would be Seattle. The Seattle would be like 8-8 or something, or 9-7, and San Francisco would be winning that division. The Rams would also be 10-6, but San Francisco would win the tiebreaker. So San Francisco is right where I thought they'd be. Okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, I mean 0-3. I mean, you push the panic button. Yeah, the Titanic is sinking over there, and so they're in trouble.
So the one thing that the Steelers do have going for them, I should say Mike Tomlin, is that Ben Roethlisberger is out for the year. So Mike Tomlin might keep his job simply because of Ben
Yeah.
Roethlisberger, like just like injury. But this makes me wonder, like how much inner turmoil was the Antonio Brown and the Le'Veon Bell thing causing in like Pittsburgh land, because you kind of see unexpired players like on their team. Do you have players that are like, do I really want to play, or am I just here to collect a check? And right now, like I see them to kind of just going through the motions, waiting for that week 17 game, so like where they could chalk it up and just forfeit this season, like almost like
Right.
do like are you seeing that out of the Steelers, or am I looking too much
Yeah,
into
and no,
this?
I mean, I don't think you're reaching there. I mean, that's possible. I mean, once they start losing like that, I mean, if they possibly go 0-4 or something like that, I mean, yeah, that's gonna start. Players do not necessarily check out during the games, but mentally you do check out a little bit. Like, what's the hope for us? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah. So that's possible. That's possible. I mean, it's a bad situation, whatever it is. It's a bad one.
So speaking of hope, Teddy Bridgewater hoped and prayed that he would get another chance at the NFL start. He got his first start since 2015 yesterday versus the Seattle Seahawks, coming out on top 33-27, giving both those teams 2-run record on the season. What are your thoughts on this game?
Man, that this is why you pay Teddy Bridgewater the highest paid backup in the league. He's getting about $7-8 million this year just to hold the clipboard, and now he's not holding the clipboard. Now he's got the reins. Yeah, I like Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints. I don't think they're as explosive as when they have Drew Brees, but they're not bad. And they still have a good defense. I mean, so Teddy Bridgewater's that's he did a good job yesterday. Let's just say that, and that's going to be a tough game Sunday, Dallas and New Orleans. I can't wait to watch that.
Yes, I'm. This is the one game that I have circled that like I will be playing on my way back to Detroit on the way home because I'm definitely gonna be watching this game beginning to end 100%. I'm talking about the Cowboys and Saints game.
Right.
But speaking of the Seahawks game, the Seahawks have kind of impressed me a little bit this season. Like I thought they were going to be pretty down. You know, they didn't have any receiver core. 1 second. But Tyler Lockett is coming into his own and he's looking pretty damn good. But Saints have Alvin Kamara and Alvin Kamara, like
Right.
he is just something else, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. The man's amazing. He and Christian McCaffrey, they're both 1A explosive backs that they can play all downs. They're not
Right.
specialists. I mean, you can consider them a third down back, but they can play downs 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
And as far as your Seattle thing there, I'm still not a big believer in Seattle. Kind of the same way I am with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. When you're paying, one player 20% of your cap or whatever it is.
And two
Seattle,
players 35%.
right? Seattle's going to. I think Seattle's going to struggle this year, and they're 2-1 start. I predicted them to go like 8-8 or 7-9. I still think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I do not like what is coming out of Seattle is you're seeing Russell throw 50 plus times like every game. They need to figure out a running game or at least attempt to run the ball more than 10
Right.
times in a game because 50 plus passing attempts 3 games here in a row that is not going to be well come
Right.
November
Right.
December here. Um,
Right.
Now moving on
Agreed.
to the Sunday night game, uh, very very good game. It was not quite what I was like expecting, but the Rams did come out on top over the Browns, 20-13. What are your thoughts on this one?
Methodical win by the Rams. And Baker Mayfield and them boys, they're not as explosive as I thought they'd be. You probably called it. A lot of people called it. I went the other way. I mean, when you got Jarvis Landry and Njoku, the tight end, and you got Odell Beckham, and you got Baker Mayfield. The problem is their offensive line is not holding up, Michael.
Right.
So if they had that line looks worse than the Texans, and that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, Baker Mayfield goes through one progression, two up, sacked. Sorry. Like if I was sacking Baker Mayfield, I'd let him know. I'd say, man, that second progression was tough, wasn't it? I was already on your ass. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey, no progressions, baby. You know what I mean? So yeah, they hung in there with a good team. The Rams are a good team. I don't think the Rams are a 13-3 juggernaut team like they were last year. I have the Rams going 10-6. So this was a methodical beatdown by the Los Angeles Rams. Something, probably to what anybody could have guessed on this game.
Yeah, watching the game, I think the game was kind of decided a little bit going into halftime when the Browns fumble or they intercepted or they got a fumble and they had the ball
Right.
down at the 10 and they could not punch it in the end zone and they had to settle for a 3 points going into halftime, giving them a
Right.
six to three lead. That was kind of like a foreshadowing of like what was about to come because they just could not find their offensive rhythm at all this past night. Um,
Right.
now I did hear some stat that during the game, if Baker Mayfield got the ball off in less than 1.5 seconds, the Browns were doing pretty good. But anytime, just like you said, anytime he held the ball
Right.
for over 2 seconds, he patted it one time, he was getting hit, or it was a
Right.
incomplete pass. Couple positives from this game though for the Browns is all their secondary was out, and they held the Rams to 20 points. I mean, the Rams are a pretty explosive offense. Yes, they're
Right.
going to take a step back, but they're still a pretty explosive offense. They have Cup,
Right.
and they still have Goff, like another $100 million quarterback
Right.
there. So there's a little bit of silver lining in this loss for the Browns here, but they better right the ship quickly in the next 2 or 3 weeks, or you're going to see inner turmoil really 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 fast here. Winning
Yeah,
cures
with the
all.
with
Yeah.
yeah with the Browns you're talking about, right? Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
who do they have next? Oh my God, they're at Baltimore next. No,
Yep.
wait a minute. Yeah, they're at Baltimore. Good luck.
Yeah, they play at Baltimore, at 49ers, and they're at home versus the Seahawks, and then they're on the road versus the Patriots. I mean, it's
Boy,
it's they got
I see
tough
two. I see
tough
two and
sledding.
four there. I see 2-4 after 6 weeks there.
Yeah, I mean, I could looking at it, their next win may not come till the Miami Dolphins, and what is that?
Oh my God.
Late November. I don't
Yeah.
see that happening for sure, but it's a
I mean,
very good
no, but you
possibility.
know what? The NFL is such a week to week league, man. I mean, who knows what? I mean, Baltimore, it doesn't look good at Baltimore, but what if this is the game where Lamar Jackson starts throwing picks? I mean, we just never know what's going to happen on Sunday. We could be talking about a Cleveland victory and Lamar Jackson throwing picks. And yeah, I mean, you know,
Right. So
never know.
there is one more game left in Week 3 NFL season. Tonight, you got the Chicago Bears taking on the winless Washington Redskins in DC. First things first, who do you got winning this game and why?
I always talk about desperate teams, and Chicago is riding high about, what are they? Are they 2-0 now? They won? They
They're
beat
one and
Denver
one.
last week.
1-1.
They're 1-1. That's right. They lost to Green Bay. They're riding high about beating Denver last week in the last second. Listen,
They should have lost.
yeah, they should have lost, and so I think the Washington Redskins win for some reason. I think they win this week. Yeah, I don't think Trubisky has thrown 72 passes, no touchdowns. I think he'll get a touchdown tonight, but I think they still lose.
Yeah. I think Chase Keenum is going to have a one of those games that like you're like this is why we have this guy as our starter, and and you're going to have Adrian Peterson active in the lineup as well. And the Chicago Bears, they think they beat the Denver Broncos, but let's be honest, they lost. The referees beat the Denver Broncos. I mean,
Yeah,
they could very easily be 0-2. If they were
right.
0-2 going into Washington tonight, I would pick the Chicago Bears because, like you said, you like the desperate teams, and
Right.
like you cannot start the season 0-3 and expect to make the playoffs. I think it's some crazy stat like only like 11% of teams that start 0-3 make the playoffs. So with that
Yeah.
being said, the Washington Redskins, they still have a pretty good team. Chase Keenum's a pretty good quarterback still.
Right.
Do not be surprised if they roll out and just thump the Bears hard, and that would make me smile ear to ear because I don't like the Bears at all. Screw the Bears.
Yeah, I see Washington kicking it. I see Washington Redskins tonight kicking a game-winning field goal and beating the Bears. I think it's like it's gonna be really a competitive game, a low-scoring game, talking like 20-19 or something like that.
And
And I'll just they just showed Kansas City Chiefs on they're showing them on Sports Center, and McCole Hardman. They said this so far this year he's the fastest player with the ball in his hands.
it was like
And did you see
23
when he
miles an
scored?
hour, something.
Yeah, yeah. And did you see when he scored his touchdown? He threw it in the stands.
No, I didn't see
Man,
that.
what? Keep that football, McCoy. That's your touchdown, man. You're a rookie, man. You could have given that to mom, uncle, aunt, somebody. I would have put that on my mantle. He just threw
He
it in the
has
stands,
many
man.
more coming if he's played with the Kansas
He
City Chiefs.
does.
So
He does. Absolutely. Yeah.
so guys, that is going to be it for today's show. Speaking of Kansas City Chiefs, I'd like to give a big shout out to Ned Yost for some great years at
Yeah.
Kansas City. He has
Yes.
officially announced his retirement. Uh, so
Great manager. Great manager.
yeah, he is a type of person that you love him or hate him, and more times than not, you are a person that loves him. But my Kansas City Royals are the fourth team to have 100 losses this year, so maybe
Wow.
it's time for a change up. I guess maybe I don't know, but
And on the flip side, my Astros 100 plus victories, and Justin Verlander got his 20th win on the
yes,
way to the Cy Young.
if the Houston Astros do not win the World Series, I will be shocked, 100% shocked. They are
Yeah.
solid,
Yeah.
solid team. Any
Absolutely.
any closing thoughts before we head out, Marcus?
No, just ready to watch tonight's game, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Keenum versus Trubisky, and let's see if Trubisky can get his first touchdown thrown this year. 72 pass attempts, no touchdown. He'll get one tonight. I think Case Keenum gets one tonight, and the Redskins I think will end up the more desperate team. I'm telling you, usually wins these football games.
It's a battle of tier 3 quarterbacks tonight on Monday Night
All right.
Football. But guys, join us tomorrow, same time, same location, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.